On the session open, today is May 15th, 2020, and it's 9:46 a.m. in London when we are doing this market update. We're going to take a look at the markets as we usually do and try to understand what may happen. And we're going to begin with the euro, and then we're going to go through stock markets as well. So, from a technical point of view, not much has happened. We are still trading sideways, and there's no real indication here when anything will happen. And maybe on a break to 107.25, we can see a break to the downside, and that would maybe even trigger a slide to 104.68. But that hasn't happened yet, and we could technically just trade above the high. GBP versus the USD did trigger this. So we talked about selling here. It's going really slowly though. Reminds me a little bit of what happened with the dollar yen. Remember, we had a setup there. We said, look, to sell, let's go down. It goes super slowly because what's happening here is that GBP is down, but you're not seeing follow through in the dollar or in the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar also remains rather bullish. It's just this market here that is bearish. So it tells me it's more of a pound weakness more than dollar strength, which is a warning sign really, and could result to price coming back up again. So if this does not trade much higher or much lower relatively soon, I will be probably trying to scale out and see what happens here. If in the long run though, as long as it's below 23.79, then this is a bearish trend. That level is up here, and the way I look at it is quite straightforward. I will just stick with the trend until proven otherwise. That's how I work. I don't necessarily try to predict when the trend is gonna fail. I don't even try to predict when the trend is gonna start. Have tried a bunch of stuff, but it's difficult. Like all the different oscillators, they're probably gonna tell you divergence, right? But I haven't really found that they work super consistent all the time, because as well, when you start to involve them, there's like another set of layers that just becomes a bit complicated, and you get a lot of conflicting signals, which I don't want. And in the overall theme, a little bit of risk and so on, this is probably going to trade lower. That's what I think, at least. And I'm going to stick with that view until proven otherwise. Here's the dollar yen. So just to give you an idea, you had low here, and a low here, and we said, look, to sell here, went good, and then it moved against us, but then that could be used to sell. And then we did have a nice little slide, and then slowly went all the way up and took out the trend defining level. And that's a bit of a warning sign, because this is GBP is like here, right? We had that break, but we don't have any significant sell. And then maybe when people that have been shorting here in the GBP USD, when they give up, if they give up, we can have that attack, and then we're here again. And I think we'll survive the attack, but you never know. It might be a situation where it just goes higher, just because there's not a lot of trends right now in the markets. If we take a look at the price of gold is starting to come into the and it's starting to draw people's attention again. We did trade above this triangle. Triangle itself gives you, we need to actually modify this. If we take the base, you have a target of about 1792, and I think we're actually gonna, in this early morning, I said, look, wait for a breakup. I think we're gonna do something like that. I think we wanna try to preempt, we go get ahead of this potential breakout and do something like this. So I want to be bullish now from 1720, and then hopefully we can head higher. What's interesting as well, the original ideas we had to buy at these levels, now we're at take profit levels now. So we talked about on April, I think April 30th, all these entries from here, if you stuck with them, we're pretty much at take profit now. It just took a few weeks. But yeah, so we had that breakout. I'm gonna do it like this now, and until we take out that high, I'm gonna be bullish above 1681. Before, I just now I said this level here, but unless we have that breakout, this will just result into a range bound market, right? If I get rid of all this fancy stuff, this will just be range, and we can probably go back down again. So that's why don't want to work with this one. But when and if, and it does look like we're going to take out the high, we'll probably go upwards like that. And then that becomes a stop. And then depending on what happens, ideally actually goes up and then it comes down and then it goes up again. Because then when we create a low here, that will be the stop for that market. All right, let's take a look at, this is crude oil. And crude oil, yesterday we talked about it and the day before. I said you can look at it if you want to trade it, but we said if we take out this level, probably gonna go upwards, right? So I think we said 28 and 30, something like that. You can look at yesterday's video. And we did take out the high. I did warn that you need to be careful because it'd be a false move. And the way this is looking right now, at least the initial bit looks non-fake. And maybe if we come back, one could get involved if you didn't buy on the original breakout. For now, the trend is going to be bullish about 23.64. Now remember that expiration of this contract is going to happen on the 21st or 22nd or so of next week. It's 3 days before the 25th, which officially makes it the 22nd. But with your broker, they're probably going to close it up for you slightly earlier so you don't get stuck with a physical contract. Some brokers as well, I think they already disabled trading, so it's difficult. What else? Let's talk about the German DAX. So German DAX is playing games. In fact, it's playing games with both sides. So what happened here is a situation where volatility just picked up. So you might remember we said, look to be bullish here somewhere. Stops would be here. That would be the trend defining level. And then yesterday we came really, really close to that low. And on the Dow Jones, we took out the important levels. But as the dust settled, if you look at this, this is the German DAX. This is a bullish candle. This is the Dow Jones. This is a bullish candle. And this is the S&P 500. This is also a bullish candle. So that attack to sell on the downside failed. And now we're looking at, if you look at the German DAX from a daily chart, it sure looks like it's going to go all the way up to 10,924, the way this candle is looking. What happened here is that the short-term trends I was focusing on, they failed. And now we're dealing with a situation where we can go upwards again. So we're dealing with a sideways market, and we're probably going to continue to trade upwards over the next few days. Does it have to be like this? Doesn't have to be like this because the market is nervous. And it's always a bit annoying, when you try to go along on dips. So you try to be bullish and it doesn't work out. And then I didn't short the German DAX yesterday because we didn't trade significantly below. But in the Dow Jones, for example, let me explain to show you here. In the Dow Jones, for example, we did trade below this level here. So I'm sure some people went short and then we went upwards. And to give you even more color, like this is the French stock market. And you can't short the French stock market because they got rid of that for you can't do that anymore. But I'm gonna show you this as an example. Imagine here, so you have that head and shoulders, head, left and right shoulder, left and right, and then you have the break, and then you have what looks like a really going in your direction, and then it swings all the way up. And this looks very similar, this candle, as you just saw it across all these different markets. So I would suggest to be a bit careful, but for now, at least from a purely trend and technical perspective, forget about the macro fundamentals unless that's what you want to trade on. The problems with macro fundamentals, they don't tell you when to buy and sell. Just give you the big picture, right? So if we go back to 10,309, I'm going to be bullish again, and I'm going to be bullish not above yesterday's low, but above this level here, which is the low from April 7th. So I think we can probably go up, maybe up to these highs again, and then we'll see what happens, right? Then you have the S&P, where the S&P took out that trend defining level. I was watching that short-term trend, but as the dust settles, this whole area survived. I wouldn't be buying immediately here on a dip because it's not as well defined as the German DAX. And I hope this makes sense a bit, as you can see what's happening here. Okay, let's see if you guys have any questions. And let's say good morning to you guys as well. So we have Maurizio, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining me. And we have as well, let me see here, that's better. We have as well Sarabjit, good morning to you. And can we take a look at gold? So we took a look at gold. If you missed gold, if anybody comes in and maybe misses something, then check this out. You can always go back like that. So we started 10 minutes ago. And Liz says good morning as well. Okay, good. I think we're going to wrap things up. It's almost 10 o'clock. It's time for me to go. I do want to thank you so much for watching this. I want to thank you so much for your support. And I want to wish you guys a good weekend. And I encourage you again to click on the link and then click on the like button. Very straightforward. That helps to tell Google that you find this being a valuable content. And then what happens is that we end up into people's feeds like that. So people that are interested in similar stuff will get notifications, and that's really good because that shows that I'm using my time wisely. If more and more people are watching it. Okay, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.